Oral questions. Questions orales. The Honourable Sturgeon River Parkland.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Liberals' cap on Canada's prosperity is a threat to the livelihood of all Canadians. All Canadians benefit from the support of our oil and gas sector in terms of jobs, investment, royalties, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, our dollar. This production cap will mean fewer jobs, less investment, less taxes to fund hospitals and schools, and higher inflation on everything as our dollar collapses against the U.S. Meanwhile, more jobs for American energy and steel workers. Will this Liberal government finally put aside its obsession with grinding our energy sector down, unleash Canada's energy superpower, and scrap the cap?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Let's stick to the facts. Canada's overall emissions are the lowest that they've been since 1997. That's the year that Connor McDavid was born, and they're going down thanks to climate action undertaken by this Liberal government. The Alberta oil sands are by far the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in Canada, and the Conservatives want to turn a blind eye to unlimited pollution in the oil sands. Madam Speaker, Alberta's far-right Premier Danielle Smith has spent $7 million on a misinformation campaign here in Ottawa to make polluting free again. That's $7 million that could have hired new teachers, new nurses, new doctors, but instead she's shilling for big oil and gas, and these Conservatives are helping her do it.
Good answer. Good answer.
The Honourable Member for Sturgeon River Parkland.
Well, Madam Speaker, speaking of misinformation from this Liberals, the Environment Commissioner confirmed that this Liberal government is not on track to meet its own emissions reduction targets. Canadians are paying the cost of this Liberal government's carbon tax, and it's all pain and no gain. Under the Conservative, Canada's economy grew, and emissions actually went down. But under these Liberals, Canada's GDP per capita is collapsing under the weight of tax hikes. The Liberals' real plan to hit their emissions targets is to collapse our economy and move more jobs south of the border. When will they have the courage to finally admit it and let Canadians decide in a carbon tax election?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, that is not true. Under the Harper government, pollution went up and up and up. In million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions, 716, 721, 738, 753. Madam Speaker, under this government, we've brought them down under 750 million metric tons after it was rising under the Harper government to an average of under 700 million metric tons over the past 3 years. Under Conservative government, emissions were projected to be 41% higher by 2030. Conservatives want to abandon our climate commitments to future generations and make polluting free again, and that's not okay.
The Honourable Member for Sturgeon River Parkland.
Well, Madam Speaker, I'll tell you what's not okay. The Salvation Army released yet another devastating report on rising food costs. The Liberals' tax and spend policies are driving up costs for farmers who grow the food, truckers who ship the food, and sadly, for families who eat the food. With malnutrition on the rise and scurvy making a comeback, it's no wonder that Canadians are dissatisfied with the menu of higher taxes and inflationary spending offered by these Liberals. It's time to axe the tax so Canadians can afford to eat, and get themselves to work. When will this NDP Liberal government let Canadians decide in a carbon tax election?
L'honorable secrétaire parlementaire, ministre des Familles, des Enfants et du Développement social.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We know that we are going through expensive times. This is exactly why we've made investment like the Canada Child Benefit. This means that we send parents over $7,000 per year to help with the cost of raising kids. Parents, when the Conservative leader talks about cuts, he's saying that it will cut these checks and make your family worse off. Is this what families need? No, I don't think so. We fight for Canadians, and we are there when times are tough.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse-les-Échemins-Lévis. Madam Speaker, new StatsCan data confirms that this government has failed. Per capita GDP has gone down over 8 of the last 9 quarters. People's quality of life is going down, whereas in the U.S., growth has reached 2.8%, much better. With an increase in the carbon tax and taxes on housing and capital gains, the government is once again putting downward pressure on per capita GDP, and this is affecting families. So my question is simple. Will the Prime Minister axe these tax increases which are making Canadians poorer? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Finance. Madam Speaker, I think that the Conservatives have an inferiority complex towards the U.S. The IMF, Madam Speaker, has predicted that Canada will have stronger growth than the U.S. next year. And this morning, StatScan revealed that we have created 15,000 jobs in the month of October. Madam Speaker, I hope my colleague understands that we will be there to ensure that the economy continues to grow. I am proud of being Canadian. Why aren't the Conservatives? The Honourable Member for Bellechasse-Saint-Lévis. Madam Speaker, The Economist has revealed that Canada is actually poorer than Alabama, the fourth poorest state in the U.S. But under this Liberal government, $450 billion investment dollars have left Canada and gone to the U.S., which has a faster growing economy than ours. So, will the Prime Minister slash taxes to support Canadian families? It's very simple. It's not hard to do, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Madam Speaker, I don't think my colleague has seen the numbers that came out yesterday from Statistics Canada. Yesterday, StatScan revealed that our growth is going to be even stronger than initially thought, and that's because of increased investment in Canada. Global investors are interested in investing in Canada because we offer stability, Madam Speaker, and that's what counts.